We're all set with the recording of this. Okay, so we're going to get started, and today I've got a good webinar because LinkedIn made some pretty big changes over the last 2 weeks, and I'm sure a few of you guys noticed. But what I want to do today is just go through the 3 main changes, give you some tips on how to implement them today, and hopefully it'll improve your profile. So the first change, and again, if we kind of pull up my profile, hopefully you guys notice it, is LinkedIn has created, we'll call it a background that you can put on your profile to kind of differentiate yourself. And you'll see that I've created a background that just kind of has my logo, and I put my website in here too. You know, I may be a genius, I may be an idiot, I don't know. I'm again, new feature, I'm kind of playing around with it and seeing what type of results I get. But my point is LinkedIn now allows us to kind of add a little customization to the profile, and I thought this would be better served than me putting some sort of big, you know, picture of whatever, New York City or whatnot. I think the real challenge when you put this picture in here is that obviously your profile information kind of blocks a little bit of it, because one thing, you know, and I kind of have some notes here, the size of the image, or the size of the space, is kind of like 1400 by 425. That's pretty big. Like your Facebook profile is about 800 by 300. So my point is let's say you had a picture. Let's say you had a picture of your entire staff of your office. Obviously, a lot of that picture would be kind of blocked out by this region right here, and only the people's, maybe their faces, you would see them. So that kind of made me think maybe that's the wrong way to go, and I'll just kind of create a custom image that I can plop in there that fits into the space that is allotted to me. So if you go to Profile and click Edit Profile, you will see now at the top this Edit Background button. And again, I have the free LinkedIn, so basically it allows me to do one thing, and that is kind of upload an image, and it'll put it in here. If you have the premium LinkedIn, which a few of you may, I believe they give you a few default backgrounds, which I would say at the bare minimum, put those in just for now, just so you have something. So moving forward, what can you guys do? You kind of have 2 choices. Choice 1 is to maybe go on to Google and you know, just try to find an image to put on there. You know, so like let's say I just kind of put New York city skyline, right? So hopefully you guys know that you can kind of just type in and then click on the images button, and it'll give you tons of images to choose from. Now, you can put these on LinkedIn. I would absolutely not put these on your normal website because you don't own the rights to them. But my point is go in here and certainly feel free to find a picture. The most important thing, though, is the size. 1400 by 425. You want to find something that's similar in size. So if you find something that looks really good, but it's maybe 400 by 200, if you put it into LinkedIn, it's going to look really blurry. So you want to find something that's almost the same size, if not bigger. So you'll notice when I put my mouse on these pictures, it does say the sizing. And I know it may be a little small looking at it in the webinar, but this one specific picture is 1600 by 516. Yeah, that probably would work good. Whereas this picture right here is 473 by 237. That's going to be one that's too small, and LinkedIn will stretch it and make it look blurry. So option 1, just kind of go find a picture that somehow makes sense, or you think brings a little professional creativity to your profile. Or option 2 is to actually try to create your own image. So how do you do that? Well, I've been using Microsoft Publisher. So for anyone who has kind of Microsoft Office, you probably have Publisher. And here was me kind of quickly trying to mock something up. And really what I did was I went in and I clicked on the Insert button and clicked Draw a Text Box. So if you do that, you can kind of go in here and create a text box. Now in the bottom left-hand corner, hopefully you can see this, it'll tell you how big it is. So this one right here is right now, this box right here is 491 by 197. Got to get it up to 1400 by 425. So that's what this big orange box was a box that I created, And then, you can see all I did was kind of change the background and then put a logo in. And imagine, doing that and then saving it here, and that logo would show up. So, I'm not really in the business here of giving graphic artist training, because that's really not my skill set. That was just kind of my idea on how to solve the issue of putting something in. But I think my point is you guys should be aware that you now can customize your profile. I'm sure you'll see a few companies trying to sell you on custom backgrounds. I would say short term, it's probably not worth the investment. But you probably do want to put something professional there. Just because, like I always say, your LinkedIn profile really is your professional resume online, and you do want it to look good. Just keep in mind that if you have a picture you think is going to look good and it gets blocked by a lot of this other info, it may have a negative impact. So that's the first new change that occurred. The second change is LinkedIn now allows you to really efficiently add YouTube videos and PDFs to your profile. So if we go to my profile and I scroll down here, you can see that I've added 2 YouTube videos on our social media posting service and our website service. I have not uploaded a PDF, but certainly that is an option. One of the things I've seen a lot of clients do is they have kind of marketing pieces or PowerPoint presentations. This is the place where you can kind of turn those into PDFs and put them here. I know a lot of people, well, let me rewind. One of the things I've stressed in some past webinars is that the summary section is very important, the actual text. But on the flip side, that you really should keep it simple. You don't want to write a book here because no one's going to read it. You kind of want to have 3 or 4 paragraphs. You want to tell people what you do, why you're unique, and how they can contact you. And I've gotten a lot of feedback saying, well, what we do is very complicated, and we want to offer those details on, the really unique things we do. Well, this is the answer to that, and that's to put the PDF or create a YouTube talking about your services right there. So the text becomes kind of the quick summary, and the PDF or YouTube becomes the more detailed overview on your firm or agency and how you really help people. So that is certainly one of the new features. And all you have to do is click on this weird little box here. We'll call it a square with an arrow. And hopefully you guys can see my poor highlighting. If you click on that box, you will see that you have 2 options. You can add a link, so that would be YouTube. If you have a YouTube link, you put that in, or you can add a file, and that would be your PDF, where you go and you certainly can just upload it right in. And LinkedIn will let you kind of customize it, type some title text and stuff, and when people click on it, they're immediately now into your YouTube with volume, and it's really a pretty good little thing to add onto your profile. Okay, so that's the second thing. The third thing is more big picture. As you guys know, LinkedIn is very highly search engine optimized. I always get questions, how come my profile is showing up, so often on Google, especially on the first page? That's because LinkedIn is actually the #2 ranking website, and just anything that's getting put on LinkedIn is going to be very highly search engine optimized, including videos you put on there and PDFs. So what has happened, though, is Google has tried to create a little bit more structure on how the profiles show up. And what they are now using, and I'm just scrolling down, what they are now using as keywords, well, let me rewind. Think of your profile as its own website. And every website now has what's called keywords and tags. Well, Google now looks at your skills and lists those skills as your keywords. So I guess my point is if people are searching for social media marketing, my profile may show up. Now, if you look at my skills, they're very, very basic. And that probably is going to work against me, because web design, insurance, lead generation, I could end up on page 10 million. Okay, there's just way too much stuff out on the internet right now. So I am kind of studying this a little bit more, and I potentially may add some different skills. The problem is if I change my skills, I'll lose my endorsements. And if you look at my social media marketing, I have over 250 people endorsing me. So that's not something I want to give up. But my point is that these terms are now the keywords. So you may want, and again, I'm analyzing this myself, you may want to add some things that are very specific. Maybe, something like the town you're in and what you specialize in. So maybe it's, Dover, Delaware accounting, or, Dayton, Ohio life insurance as a skill. And that potentially could get your profile a little bit more optimized. Now, again, one of the things I'm also reading is that the keywords gain strength with the endorsements they get, which makes sense. So if you have some keywords and no one's endorsing you for them, it's not as good as, someone like myself who may have hundreds of people endorsing. So my profile is more likely to show up instead of yours. So I guess what I'm saying is I probably could have a full training webinar just on this SEO stuff with LinkedIn, because the more I think about it, it is kind of confusing and it is very complicated. But I think what you guys should start to think about is, just making sure that your skills do define you, and they're maybe not so broad, and that you do have a few that are very, we'll call them niche-oriented or very pinpointed. Think about the possibilities of adding more depth to your profile with maybe some videos and with some PowerPoints, and really take on the thought of customizing it a little bit with, the background. Because think about Facebook. When we think about a lot of the branding going on in Facebook, it's always impressive to see a company that kind of has something compared to the guy who has nothing. And I think LinkedIn is heading that way, where it's really about taking your look and your brand and your quote-unquote online resume to that higher level. So that's all I got today. I'm going to put this on YouTube. I think next week we're going to talk a little bit more about LinkedIn because, again, I want to really take in and research some of these changes. Again, a few of them happened 2 days ago, and I'll maybe be able to offer a little bit more insight next week. So I appreciate everyone's time. Hopefully you guys have a good weekend, and I'll talk to everyone soon. Thanks again.